U.S. banks, as you know, in the TARP, got billions of dollars in bailout money from taxpayers, money intended to help us, to help our country's biggest banks stay afloat.
All right, well, now there's outrage because these banks, it turns out, spent our tax dollars in overseas investments.
Send them over there.
Congressman Dennis Kucinich gave Treasury officials an earful about this. Congressman, thanks so much for being here. Not many people know that these banks were making these foreign investments. Tell us more.
Well, as chairman of domestic policy, I made it a point to have my subcommittee go deeply into the question of where's the money going. We know that Treasury is giving money to banks, but who are the banks giving money to?
And they wouldn't tell you.
And so, they don't have to report that. All they have to do is report that they get money, and the top 20 banks make reports, but the Treasury really doesn't know where those banks are sending the money. With a deep investigation, with some help from people who are experts in database gathering, we were able to determine that, for example, Citigroup, which has received over $45 billion in federal bailout funds and hundreds of billions in loan guarantees, sent $8 billion to Dubai. And what's interesting about that is in Dubai, there was a story about how thousands of cars are parked in an airport. People abandon those cars. They've abandoned homes there. They're leaving. What's that money being used for?
Yeah, exactly.
And the Bank of America sent $7 billion to
China,
a Chinese construction company. Now, we should have good relations with China, and China actually is buying a lot of our debt.
Yeah.
But when that TARP was passed, the American people had every right to expect it would be used to help people save their homes, for money for businesses, to keep jobs going in this country, and instead the American people's tax dollars, we found out, are being shipped abroad at a time of a national economic emergency.
This is wrong. It's supposed to help us. They've got China.
Exactly.
They already own a lot of our country because they own so much of our debt. Dubai, come on, they've got those 7-star resorts and they got all that oil money floating around there. It is crazy that these big banks, because there is no transparency here, sent all that dough overseas. Congressman, you got to do something about this.
Well, we are, and that's why, as the chairman of Domestic Policy Subcommittee, I held a hearing, and here's what we found out. We found out there's almost 500 banks that have already received these bailout funds, and that there's another 1,000 in line. Now, you know, our country's being looted. Our taxpayers are sorely pressed. People are having trouble making ends meet. Ways of life are changing because of fraud in the markets. And what's happening? The taxpayers, who were asked to help save the economy, they're seeing their money getting shipped out overseas. It's just wrong.
It is wrong.
Yeah, and we're sadly out of time. But Congressman Dennis Kucinich, thank you so much for coming on this morning to clue us all into what's happening.
We're going to stay on top of this. Thank you.
Go get them. Get the money back. All right. Meanwhile.